This is something that I didn't really think that I were gonna talk about in my videos, but it's actually about being traumatized in your family. So I don't know if you have had the same experiences as me, but I have been traumatized a lot in my younger life when I was a child, and actually also when I was a teenager. So it may seem like small things I'm gonna talk about now, but it's actually had a huge impact on my life that I hadn't even realized before now. And let me tell you the story. So when I was, I think about 7 to 8 years old, I always used to want to get a lot of attention in my family. I wanted to be known, be accepted and respected, but I was at such a young age that I didn't even want to go to sleep alone. Often I will wake up in the night and I will crawl or run into my parents' room, and then I would sleep with them. A very sweet thing, you may be thinking. But then some days I just had it harsh and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't be alone at that time. And usually I would want to sit with my parents in the living room where they were watching movies and series, and I just wanted to be together with them. But my parents didn't give me the kind of attention and safety that I was hoping for. I was trying to come into them and just hug them, be around them, get some physical touch. I was a very physical guy when I was younger. And they always used to just in the start they were like, go into your room, you have to sleep now. And I was like, no, I don't want to. And they would slowly begin to raise their voice, begin to scream. And then they would just rush over to me like fast footsteps, looking angry at me, and just take me in the arm. It was my father usually, and he just grabbed my arm really hard, like very uncomfortable. Think about it, for a 7-year-old, right? Just getting his arm grabbed and just pulled, and he was just pulling me into my room and be like, you have to sleep now, like, with a deep and strong voice. And I was so scared that I didn't know what to do, and I began to cry because I didn't understand the situation at that time. Because all I wanted was attention from my parents, but now they seemed like they hated me. And I began to cry. What they did was then they told me that I could actually not go out of this room, or else they will... I don't know if they said that will hurt me, but they said that they wouldn't do anything about it. And I was sitting in my room then crying, screaming, "Mommy, mommy!" Because usually she was the nicest to me. My dad was a bit more harsh. I don't regret that to this day, because I feel like he was just trying to make me man up and all this, right? But I was a very insecure little child, so I just needed the attention, or somebody told me that, you shouldn't do this because then this will happen on all this. But anyway, I cried and I cried. I literally went out of my room, just stood there and cried while my parents looked at the TV, screaming at them, literally 5-10 meters away from them. They completely ignored me. How do you think this impacted me as a child? Needing the parents' love and attention while they didn't give it to me when I was in the most desperate situation for getting it. It hurt me a lot. It gave me some problems. I felt unloved and all this. It may seem like silly, but it really hurt. It really hurted me that time. Think about it, standing there screaming at your mommy, like, "Mommy, mommy, I need some attention," basically. I didn't say that, but I was just confused and crying, and they just ignored me. Completely ignored me. Didn't even say a word to me. Just ignored me. And then they would just let me scream and cry out. Think about just letting your child scream and cry out. How do you think our relationship was the next day? I began to become cold. I ignored my parents. I was mad at them because I didn't get what I wanted, which was attention and love. But maybe you have had this yourself, and maybe you actually have some symptoms even now in your teenage years of it that you haven't been thinking about. And that's why I want to tell you the best way that I have been going around this problem with my parents, because I have often been abused with even if there was guests over to us. If I didn't behave the way that my parents wanted to, my dad will literally in front of the guests scream at me so they could clearly hear it, and just telling me, "You're gonna stop doing that." And he will really grab my arm and he will pull me out. "Do you want to talk about this?" Really commanding. And I was again confused. What did I do? I didn't feel like I did. So I asked, "What did I do wrong?" And it was just like quiet. And he was like, "We're gonna go out and talk about this." And sometimes it would just grab me so hard that I would literally feel it the next day in my arm. And I know they just did it to make me become a good-mannered person, but it really hurt me. It really did. And it left some trauma, because now when people talk a bit louder to me, I would get into a fight or flight system mode, because it's just automatically, because I know that from my past when they used to scream at me, I know they will get physical with me. And that's why I actually think that I react a little bit like, my body reacts with like a shock whenever somebody raises their voice. And maybe you have the same symptoms as well. And the way that I fixed this was by being grateful to my parents. You're probably gonna say that, what? So you fixed the problem with your parents who treated you badly by treating them nicely? That doesn't make sense, Oliver. That's probably what you're thinking. But honestly, that is what helped me. Because think about how hard of a job it is for a parent to take care of the child. I really have been thinking about this. I've literally wrote it in my gratitude journaling book about what I could be grateful for to my parents. And there were actually a lot of things that I didn't think about. That is amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And now I took my courage and I said it to my parents. And already now I feel like we're in a much happier mood together. And then it's also improving yourself. That is the next tip that I want to say. Because when you get better, your parents will respect you more. Because think about it. I was 7 years old, right? Back then, right? But I never did any actions that made me deserve to be respected. I was just a video gamer, telephone gamer. Maybe you are as well, or maybe you were as well, but you just haven't been thinking about that's why they maybe didn't have any respect for you. So level up. It may sound cringe, but I mean it. Level up, become a better person, get some skills that people can respect you for. That's what I want to say in this video. Thanks for taking your time to listen to my story. Hope that helped you, and have a wonderful day, bro.